Hello, Twin Minds here. Welcome back to Autonauts. I have created a bit of a mess for myself, as per usual. This mess, however, is in the form of too many things to do. So what I've done is I have completed all of the current research, and all of these blueprints laid out, represent all of the various things that I've unlocked that I haven't had a chance to touch yet. There's a lot, as you can see. These are all the various bits and pieces that you can place in the world. This doesn't even count the new items that I can craft that can't really be placed like structures. So over here we have my wonders, the wardrobe, and the wonder number 2, which is the mystical stone head, which is kind of like your trash can to dump stuff into and destroy. So I don't need to worry about those that much unless I feel like dressing up. We also have the barn, which is leading into animal husbandry. We have the log cabin, which is the next tier for the colonists. We'll get to that in a moment. All of these things, there's just so many of them. I don't even want to cover all of them right now, just because there's so many of them. So what I will do is I will delete all the ones I don't want to talk about right now, and then we'll deal with the next step. Alright, so I didn't get a chance to delete as many as I thought I would, which is unfortunate. But we'll see. I don't know if I need all of these just yet. Ultimately, the goal is to get the colonist up to the next tier so I can do the next level of research faster and create even more mess for myself. I'm excited. But to do that, we need to upgrade the research bench. We need to create a log cabin, which is their next tier of house. We need to give them clothing, so we need to get into textiles. And then we need to go into the next tier of food cooking, which requires not only the better kitchen equipment, but also clay and a kiln. That's a lot. On top of that, we also have the structural workbench, the masonry bench, and the wood shaping bench all create the various components needed to make all of this other stuff. Plus, to make it even more fun, a lot of these pieces of equipment can't just go on the grass like I've been doing. We need to actually start building structures. So we've got walls, doors, and floors to put in as well. That's a lot to cover. I'm going to be cutting a lot of stuff, a lot of the smaller processes like setting up the cotton farm, for example. We'll just do that. You don't need to see that. You saw me set up 8 different farms. It's fine. I've also already set up clay digging over here, and I've got a box full of clay for when I need that. Same process. I literally copied and pasted the stone diggers and put them over in the clay. Wasn't very difficult. That's the kind of stuff I'll be cutting out. I've already cut off these guys' food supply. These 5 are going to end up going into the cabins whenever I get those built. And then this whole process will be transferred from WoW 1 to whatever the next tier of WoW is, which I believe is 100. But let's get building some of this stuff. Let's start with the log cabins, just for fun. These are 3-stage projects. I don't actually know what the other stages are. I just know the first stage is straw, which I have a ton of from my wheat farm. So let's do that. I'm actually building these right over here in my usual building spot. And I forgot to mention one thing. My little guy has a backpack now, and he's got a scooter. I saw it was a buildable item, and for whatever reason, my brain said, no, I don't need that. But as soon as I equipped it, it was very nice. He goes a lot faster. So I dig it. And he can carry an extra item in his backpack. Not as big of a deal, but still, it's nice. Alright, stage 1 is done, and now we need 6 logs. They're going to work on that, and I'll get to work on the other stages. Alright, looks like stage 3 is 6 planks for the roof, which is great. I have a bot already doing that. So we'll just carry on. Alright, we have our 5 huts built. Oh, that's a look I didn't realize I had. Neat. Well, in case you need to know, that's the C button. I was not aware that was a thing. How do I stab it? How do I stab it? There we go. C. Fascinating. Fascinating. Alright, good to know. So let's get these moved to where I'll probably want them, which is somewhere over here. And that'll do for now. That'll do for now. Now let's get our colonists moved on there. I doubt anything remarkable is going to change with them. We have evolved them. We've got the food pyramid of colonists. They'll now give me 100 WUV. Great. And they are bigger. Alright. They are getting close to Titan size here. Okay, so the bars at the bottom are roughly expected. Food bar, obviously. The housing bar, probably going to need to repair these things over time. I don't know if it's just going to be planks for the roof or logs, straw combination, who knows. And then the clothing bar is the next phase, where we need to actually start clothing them. So they're no longer naked colonists expecting me to shove grapes in their mouth. Looking forward to that. But for right now, they just get to sit there, twiddling their toes, waiting for me to do something with them. Alright, now on to all of these various things. We need to set up a cotton farm, so I might actually do that first, just so we can get some cotton started. To do that, I'm going to use my usual scythe bot, a tilling bot, and then a harvester bot, but we also need a thresher. To get a thresher, we need panels, square frames, good gears, cranks, crude blades, etc. That's a lot of stuff, and I don't think I have most of that stuff. I think most of that stuff actually comes from, like, the wood shaping bench, for example. Possibly the structural workbench as well. So let me get some of these things built if I can, and if I have any steps in between, I'll come back and tell you about them. Alright, it looks like the fixing peg is going to be another step in my woodworking process here that I'll need to add, because it is another chopping block just like the rest of these guys, and it comes off of poles. So that should be relatively easy to set up, and I think I'll do that right now. Alright, I've got these guys set up, making the fixing pegs, which go into here. And this is now my structural workbench, which requires flooring. So now I need to make flooring. Alright, the flooring is down, and I do believe this can just be moved right on top of that. Perfect. So now I have access to square frames and panels, as well as the crank, which is what I need for a lot of these other things. There's going to be some extra automation required for a lot of this stuff. Ultimately, I do plan on having some sort of wood workshop that encompasses all of this stuff going on, as well as all of these things, making extra tools and bits and bobs and all that fun stuff. But for right now, I just need to be able to make the things that I need so I can get my colonist up and running. We'll work on expanding and automating a lot of that later. Next up is the crude clothing station and the spinning wheel, both of which are required to make the clothing I need. So I need 3 square frames, a panel, and a crude blade from elsewhere. So let's grab some of that stuff. Square frame comes from here, and that requires 4 poles and 4 fixing pegs. Alright, the square frames go on these things, and I need like 3 or 4 more of those. Oh man, these panels are quite the piece of work to make. They require 8 total fixing pegs, 4 poles, and 4 planks just to make the one panel. They are beastly. But I now have my spinning wheel and the crude clothing station. Spinning wheel happens to require flooring just like the other one, but it also requires walls. We need an entire room dedicated to this thing. Wonderful. So let's do that. Alright, I have my room blueprint set up here. It's nothing fancy, but it does incorporate the dry stone walls, which I need for my construction thing here. So I figured I'd build those while I was at it, and that will be my first room. I also have the sandy track to do. We'll cover the tracks in a little bit. Ultimately, the tracks are roads, basically. They'll help the bots go faster. But I'm not overly concerned about that right now. And that requires some, city planning, which I'm not ready for yet. So we'll do that later. These, however, require a whole lot of stuff. So I'm going to move all of this out of the way. And I'm going to move some of this in the way. And we'll get the bots working on some of this stuff. These require just a ton of stone. And the doors require a door frame, which I don't think I know how to make yet. I don't know how to make that yet. So we're not doing the doors. We'll do arches instead. Now I'm going to ferry a whole bunch of stone back and forth. In fact, let's make it a little bit easier on myself. Let's move this whole structure here. Yeah, that'll do. And then I can move a bunch of stone back and forth. I can see, though, from these requiring 5 and 7 stone each, that I'm going to need to increase my stone production drastically. Alright, that was quite a bit of work, but it's done. My walls are done, my floor is done, I just need to put them all together and make a room out of it. That also took almost the entirety of my stone collection, so I need to increase that a lot. For a later time though. So let's put you over here, and put you inside of that. That will hopefully count as a room. It's not blinking anymore, so I think that counts. Wonderful. So now I have access to wool and thread of various kinds. And then over here, I can make ponchos, tunics, togas, don't know what that is, and knitted beanie. Looks like it's ultimately going to be about the same for each. The bulrushes are here, so maybe I'll just work with this for now. So we'll get some colonists and togas, perhaps. I also need to build this one. I think I need that for the threshing of the bulrush stems. So let's get this built too. Turns out, to make that good gear, I need a wood shaping bench. So that's another thing to add to the pile of things I need to build. I kind of knew this was all coming, but I wasn't sure I was fully prepared for it all. Alright, there's my wood shaping bench, which also requires some flooring. My flooring is done, so I'm just moving that in place so I can actually use it. And there's my good gear, which requires yet another panel. Oh my goodness, the wood needs are fantastic. Well, that's a fun little animation. I like it. A little spinny. Oh boy. And we need more flooring. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we need more flooring? Alright, so this is my threshing machine. You do take bulrush stems and you make bulrush fiber out of it. It can also automatically thresh cereal, which is nice. And it can do cotton as well. Great. So my threshing machine would probably need to go in here somewhere. Now that I realize that I didn't need to make extra floor for it, but I am positive I will need that floor in the future. So it's fine. So we have something harvest bulrush, throw it into here. It gets spun into bulrush thread and then turned into togas. That all appears to be accurate. Now I did a whole bunch of bots doing all these things. I'm going to set up just a little bit of a bulrush farm here. Doesn't need to be too terribly big for the moment. I just need a few clothing for these guys. I hope. I'm going to assume that the clothing degrades over time like the houses, so I'll probably need that in continuous supply. But I'm running out of room here. I need to expand. I don't know how I'm going to do that just yet. We'll figure it out. But for right now, Little Bulrush Farm should be fine. So let's do some of that. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I found the joys of the if-else command. I have been doing nested ifs, and that's just silly. When I have if your hands are full, go, or if your hands are empty, go get a scythe. Otherwise, go cut some bulrushes. That's what the if-else is for. I think it saves one piece of memory, which is good. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but I figured it out at some point while I was doing other stuff down here, I think. But yeah, it should be fine. So that is your setup to go do some bulrush cutting, and that leaves us with bulrush seeds and the stems. So I still need a bot for replanting, and then a bot for storing the bulrush stems, and then a bot for threshing and threading and sewing. Yeah, lots of bots. It'll be fine. Alright, there is my bulrush planter ready to go. Just picks up all the various seeds that drop, plants them in this 4x4 area. Everything else, all the seeds are just going to sit there. It's fine. And then I need my bulrush picker. Now he's going to grab all of the stems. This guy is going to grab bulrush from here and thresh it in there. This guy is going to grab the fiber and loom it. And this guy is going to grab the thread and make cloth out of it. There we go. I, of course, missed a small step in that I forgot I need 2 of these clothing stations. One running to make the cloth and one running to make the togas. So I'm going to have to change that up ever so slightly. I love how they have to sit in the rocking chair to make clothing. It's fantastic. Alright, so I need to make another one of those clothing stations. So let's do that. Alright, so we have another clothing station here, ready to go. And I had to make another bot, because of course I did. And then you, bot, are going to take fabric, make a toga. Great. That should work out just fine. Now obviously there's going to be some lapses here in judgment. I set all of them to repeat forever. I didn't do any stops or catches to that. And there's probably going to be multiple who need to be working on the loom to make enough fabric for everything. But we'll see how it all goes. It seems I have already run out of bulrushes. So clearly that farm is not big enough, but they're still planting. Or they're still growing, so who knows? That hopefully will tackle that problem eventually. Hopefully. I'm gonna have to wait around and find out. I guess while we wait around and find out, though, I probably should get the food going, so that once they're clothed, they can have something in their bellies. For right now, I decided the easiest recipe was going to be carrot stir-fry, which is carrots and seeds. All of the other next tier foods required water, and I didn't want to tackle water just yet. So for the food, I need clay. So I need to build my crude clay station and the crude kiln. So both of these can come over into the worky-buildy area. This one just requires clay, so I'm going to pick up that by hand here. There we go, crude kiln. Oh lordy. Apparently I can make a whole bunch of lawn gnomes. Great, good to know. There may or may not be random lawn gnomes appearing all over the map as we play. I may or may not ever mention it. We'll find out. For right now, I just need the bowl, or the pots, so that I can make the next tier of food. That obviously doesn't need to happen here, but that's where it happens to be currently. So over here I need 2 stone, and then of course I need 2 more square frames and 2 more panels. Wonderful. Alright, the crude clay station is built where I can create a raw gnome. Okay. And a clay pot. It only requires 2 clay, and then it needs to come over here to get fired up. So, let's do that. Does this need a floor? Does not need a floor. Okay, that'll be fine then. So then these 2 we can move over by the clay for now. Alright, got a handful of bots ready to go. We will have blue guy here, whichever one he is. Sure, you will grab 2 clay. Alright, we'll have him grab till his hands are full. Nope, that's not how you teach a bot anything. You don't pick him up and drag him to where he needs to go. Alright, clay. Make a pot. You will grab pots and fire the pots. I have found a minor issue. I didn't realize it needs fuel. So we're gonna have someone bring in logs all the way over here, and or a new farm. For right now, let's move this whole setup closer. You will grab wood and put it in the kiln. And it looks like 1 wood can make a couple pots, which is nice. Right, that should do, hopefully. So now we have clay pots ready for food. And that means I now need to upgrade my crude cooking pot, I think. I don't know if I need the kitchen table yet. Let's make it anyway. Let's see what happens. Aha! Pottery is complete. I got a beret. Wonderful. And the tower grows ever taller. Crude cooking pot is done, and that finishes off the cooking planning. Great, we have an apron and a chef's hat. I can dress up. Can I dress up the bots? That would be amazing. That'll be an investigation for another time. But for right now, I have my crude cooking pot. I don't. This makes the next thing that I need, I believe, which is the carrot stir fry. So yes, then what does the kitchen table do? Pain in the butt to make it, but I'm gonna make it anyway and see what it does. Alright, crude kitchen table is up, but it needs walls. It will be a mystery for now, because I don't have room to put it in my only room. You win this round. Some later time then. You go back up into the pile up here. Alright, cooking pot. So, you can actually go down here and replace this one. This bot will probably end up using. Yeah, it'll be fine. So we need 2 carrot salads, which actually can be made out of this one anyway. Bot's there. You, bot. Come this way. Okay. Carrot salad. So you need to be retaught. Not pumpkins, but carrots. Carrots. Go. That hopefully will be just enough for him to relearn, because it's the same recipe, but for carrots instead of for pumpkins. So that should be easy enough to do. And then we need another bot for this one, and that requires pumpkin seed, carrot salad, and clay pot. Most of that stuff is going to be right here, but the pod is over here. I'm going to need to figure out bot transport and all that fun stuff. But for right now, my textiles are done. Good backpack upgrade. Nice. Robe, dress, jumper, farmer's hat, and a chulo. Sure, great. Let's set up a bot to clothe the minions. Bot, pick up togas, clothe them. That will do. Look at my little colonists in a toga. That's adorable. Great. All of them now have togas. I just noticed they have little X's on their backside. Nice touch. I like it. Now I need another bot to cook me carrot stir fry. Nope, not you. You. This is going to be a little bit tricky because I can't easily backpack a lot of that stuff. Let's do it this way. So we'll do grab a pot, backpack it, grab pumpkin seeds, dump that into the cooking pot, and then the last bit that might not be as tricky as I think it is, grab that, put it in the pot. Now we don't need the move commands, and we can do that whole thing twice. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but if they are directly adjacent to one of the squares that they can pick up stuff, they don't actually need to move there. They can pick it up diagonally. So it should be able to just stand here after dumping the seeds in and grab the carrot and put it straight in the pot without having to move. So that whole thing should work. And then I need it to retrieve and put that in the pot as well. And I'm just going to finish this one by hand. Ah, we also need fuel. Wonderful. Okay, so this is too much for this poor bot's brain to handle. And that's fine, because I can technically give him an upgrade. Yeah, let me go ahead and make that upgrade quick. And I just also taught another bot to fuel this thing. Hopefully forever. That should be fine. Probably should trigger that too if it's needed. But that, I don't need to worry about that at the moment. But we have a carrot stir fry. It exists. And I have this abacus to plug into his poor bot brain. Just give him a slightly bigger noggin so he can handle this whole process, which he does now. And I can set that to repeat forever. Let's test him out. Make sure he can do the thing. Oh my god, his head actually got a little bit bigger. That's wonderful. I love it. He's so lopsided now. Perfect. That is wonderful. So then the final step will be to feed these colonists with their new food. I think I need new bots for that because I think I destroyed the previous nanny team. And this nanny team I'm going to keep going for now with these guys. Just because I don't know if I can keep these guys fed consistently yet. It should be fine, but I haven't put it through the ringer yet, so I don't know for sure. So we'll just do another nanny bot team. It'll be really small, hopefully. There we go. And of course, once they're fed, they stand on their heads and be weird and expose their little star to the sky. Oh, and we get the clay pots back. Well, that changes things a little bit. I don't need to make clay pots forever. Well, that's good to know, because I don't have any more clay to make clay pots out of. Let's stop these guys then. And that means that I can grab someone over here to pick up the leftovers and throw them back over here, and then this chef doesn't have to run all the way over here to get clay pots each time. That's much more handy. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't eat the clay pots, as we've seen in some other games, but we now have 100 wov. 100 wov. These things are huge, and I love it. The final step in the process is this. We need to upgrade the research station so that I can continue on the next steps. Obviously, easy stuff down here, except for that rough stone block, which I've never actually done before. I do believe that that is done with the chisel and mallet. So let's do that. Okay, crude chisel and mallet. What do I do with you? Ah, these hard rock masses. So now I can chisel these away. Maybe make more room for myself. Okay, they get smaller. Big old hard rock mass, wonderful. That looks really uncomfortable to carry, but our little guy's a trooper. Alright, I will go ahead and finish making this then. And I now have a plethora of new research to do that takes a large amount of research. So I will continue on with these in my off time, and they'll probably be going during other recordings as well. But we have quite a bit of large wov to work with. So let's pick one. Let's pick one. How about... I was excited to do bees, so let's do bees. Grab one of my spare beehives here. And let's do my first batch of 100 wov by hand here. Now I need to get a bot to pick all this stuff up and sort it and all that fun stuff. But that's it for right now. I bit off way more than I could chew, and it shows. I didn't even get to most of this stuff. That'll have to be for another time. But for right now, we have toga wearing colonists standing on their heads, happy as can be, pooping out gigantic wov. It's a good time. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.